Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another, Tabletop Junkie stream. I don't know what else to really call these things anymore. Some of them are reviews, some of them are actual plays, some of them are things that I like, some of them are announcement videos. We get it. So, why am I doing this video this morning? Well, I'd like to make a quick announcement regarding a poll that I have going on Twitter. My Twitter page is linked in the chat. It will be linked in the description. I went to a few friends and pitched an idea because I am actually... So, it's probably no secret with everything going on in the world today. We don't really have a whole lot of entertainment media really coming out. There's not a whole lot of talk about entertainment media coming out. Tabletop games are always coming out, which are good inspiration for ideas and stuff like that. So that's the only media I got coming out, but I don't have it coming out. Other people have it coming out. I'm just buying it. So, what does that mean? You know, when you have nothing else and you're completely done with everything that has been going on for years. Well, I don't know. I call it boredom and not giving a crap. So let's begin with the chat. We do have probably a couple people here. Sparta Chris, of course, he is always here, listening in, which is good. So I have a poll going on right now. So in the 1940s, there was this radio cast because we didn't have televisions back in the day. And if we did, they were so expensive, the average consumer probably could not buy them, whatever we consider the average consumer was in the 1940s. Which is different than what we consider the average consumer is currently in today's time. Let me tell you about that. You guys can look that up, do your own research on that. I'm not doing it for you. What does he say? The sweet release of life? No? Okay, go see some help then. Whatever. Anyway, so in the 1940s, there was these radio casts that would come on and entertain people. It would be whole scripts of what people would write, and they would act this stuff out. And right now, in today's time, we don't have radio casts anymore because really radios are more digital than they are analog. Back in the day, we had tube radios that would get a signal. You would go to tune into a particular station and you would listen to it. Radiocast actually still even happened in the early 2000s. I grew up in a Christian home. Shocker. I believe in a God. Shocker. Probably you guys wouldn't expect that out of me with as much as I talk about the potential potential past being myths and stuff like that. But that's just me keeping, keeping the open-minded people attracted to me as an audience, because that's my audience take is tabletop gaming. I don't really care about your personal, political, or religious beliefs. I just want a game, and whatever you think, however you want to play the game, that's really up to you. I personally don't care. Let's just play some games. In the end, that's all I care about. Gaming. So I would listen to. There was this. Oh boy, I forget the stream. Lucille Ball did stuff like that radiocast, and you can also find radio dramas of the original Star Wars trilogy, Doctor Who. Yep, you can still find that. Trying to think. So this was a children's program. I forgot what it was. Hasn't been out for quite some time, but it would tell stories. It would be children going through daily life and overcoming challenges and did not know what it was to be an adult. I remember there was a kid who had to learn how to wear braces, and he was made fun of, and he was given a scripture from the Bible to read of how he overcame all that. And it would be compared to people, religious figures from the Bible. So there was stuff like that. As Spartacus said, there was dramas of the original Star Wars. There was Doctor Who. I don't think those were back in the day. I think those are more or less came out a little bit new, just try and revive the TV stuff. But I do know there was stuff like Dick Tracy, the mysterious adventure, the mysteries and adventures of Dick Tracy. Which did eventually in the 1990 get its own film, and I believe TV series before that. And then it was a radio drama. And there was even the radio drama of the original Superman. So I do know that as well. One of the more well-known radio dramas is with Elfie from A Christmas Story. Then you have the Cowboy and Indian radio dramas. Yep. So all this occurred in the 1940s. So I pitched this idea because it's like, we miss those. I don't know. I kind of like the idea. Those were kind of like I don't want to say highlight. I never did experience much of any of them. But we all come on YouTube and we all listen to radio stuff, like podcasts and stuff like that. You see people perform small-time acting with D&D, Castles, CNC, Castles and Crusades, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Wars, games, Star Wars Edge of the Empire, Call of Cthulhu, and a lot of times people are just on camera doing this. You see the surprise going, oh, no, sometimes you don't. Sometimes people don't want to be premiered. But you see that all the time. And there's even a few people I can name off, a few channels I can name off that do that quite often. So I went to Spartacus and a couple of my friends, and I said, do you guys know anything about these radio dramas? And I don't know. I'm gonna just put it out there on Twitter that I want to see if anybody wants to, hear anything about some radio dramas. And of course, Spartacus says, well, what happens if you get a good turnout? I said, well, I probably would have to produce it. I'd probably have to figure out how to produce it and come out, because why would you set a poll out and not do anything? That's a good way to not get followers and stuff like that. Since the talk of this radio drama, this has been kind of going on Twitter for about almost a week now. And within that week, I've actually grown from 127 subscribers to 135 just on YouTube alone. I've gained over 3 to 5 followers on Twitter. People asking me about it, and people are wondering, how would I go about producing this? Because they are curious it's not, and a couple people I said, hey, would you like in on this? And they're like, oh no, we just want to know so we can hear your story. So I got people asking me, but they're not wanting to join the voice casting crew or the producing crew. They just want to know so they can come and listen to me. So I've already got somewhat of a plan. I'm going to be getting some other stuff together. I'm not going to say too much other than it will not be live streamed. It will be recorded and then set to a premiere. And it'll be set to a premiere that everyone on the crew, such as people who edited and the voice actors, are all in the, back there watching themselves, which is going to be kind of embarrassing for a lot of us. But since we're not in front of each other, I think it will be less embarrassing. And I will be sitting there too, if this becomes a thing. I don't know. Right now, I do have a decent turnout of some people who actually have spoke out about this. I do have 21 votes of people saying they do want to see it. So 21 votes. I believe I have 17 of them said they want to see it. Let me see here. Let me try and get an estimate here. Yep, I got 17 votes saying they would like to see this radio/podcast idea. They think it's a very good idea. And on top of that, then I posted something about, okay, if you want to see this, what kind of genre would you like to see? Which we have more votes on that. So there are probably people who are seeing the second one and not the first. So I'm pretty sure we are at 25 votes. So I'm pretty sure we have 25 votes. So if you don't want to see it, then you don't really vote on the second one. So if you do want to see it, then you vote on the second one, if that makes any sense. So that means I have 4 votes more than usual, which means I probably have 4 more votes of yes, we want to see it. Which would put our votes roughly at and 21 out of 25. So yeah, which I think that would give me an average of close to 85%. Seems to me that the second one vote is more accurate. Yeah, it is actually, Spartacus, because we have more people voting on the genre than we do the actual yay or nay. So yeah, it looks like I have a small fan base here. So we have 21 people that want to see it. All right, we know that much. Now the genres are very simple: action and adventure, horror, mystery, sci-fi and space opera, or other, which is a combination of anything you want. So far, I think only one person responded on that, other than one person, and they said sci-fi horror, which, event. Can anyone say Event Horizon? Totally, but which puts it at 56%. So that means 14 people want science fiction and space opera. 5 people want action adventure and horror mystery. And I think one person wants the sci-fi horror. So it looks like science fiction space opera is what we're kind of going with here. Unless we can pick this up just a bit more. The link is in the chat currently right now. So if you guys, anyone who's listening in that hasn't voted yet, if you guys want to take a vote, go ahead and take it. If you want to say yes to the first one, go to the second one and tell me what you would like to see more of. I'm trying to see if, like I said, if there's going to be any potential of a small fan base or anything that I can generate from this. Pretty much this is going to be whatever equipment we have available between me and my friends. I did talk to a friend about getting some additional voice actors in, people who are willing to do it. Doesn't look like there's going to be much of a budget because unfortunately there really can't be at this time. I'm not even sure if this is even going to really work, so I'm taking a shot in the dark here and doing my best. So that is one of the things I got going on this channel. I'm still going to do my actual plays and my reviews. It's just getting time from work has left me with very little time. Plus, I do have a family, so I have to do that. I do already have some notes generated for this so-called universe. Spartacus and I are working together to flesh it out a bit more because it still has a lot of work. I think I fleshed out technological and scientific advances. I fleshed out a few species because if we do the science fiction space opera, there will be alien races. I think I actually have a pretty good idea about the alien races and some mix. I've been doing some mix matching on some words here. I've also been already generating what you call trivia. If you don't know what trivia is, okay, so trivia, what's the basic definition of trivia? Let me give you the basic definition because I think we found that. Details, considerations, or pieces of information of little importance or value making its way into an idea. Now that last part I added, making its way into an idea. Seems to me... Yep. Okay, I thought Sparta said something else. Whew, still a little exhausted. Didn't get to bed till like late, and then when I finally got to sleep, I woke up. So, trivia is basically, can also be considered, something found commonly in other places. I will be probably putting this on my blog, which I have to actually go and update my blog full of my Castles and Crusades stuff because I haven't done that in a couple weeks. Of course, it's been a couple weeks since we played. But anyway, I have to actually, I'm going to get ready and post some trivia basically there for everybody to basically see. However, I won't do that until after the finished product is out and we have an idea of what we're kind of doing. And then you're gonna see some things, if this happens, you're gonna listen to some things, basically, and you're gonna go, that's where you got the idea from. Kind of like trivia is also built in for how people respond to interviews. So, I gotta wet the whistle a little bit. Dry morning. So I'm still doing Castles and Crusades every 2 weeks. I'm trying to get something else to do on a Friday. It looks like this is pretty much going to be my every other Friday night. And I am trying to get Spartacus and Crew 540 into gaming a little bit. However, there's been just a tiny bit hiccup. Everyone's been kind of busy. Schedules are not lining up. And I've been having a lot of unexpected visitors lately, which is not good for me. So hopefully we don't have too many more of those. Because quite frankly, I don't like unexpected visitors. I have to plan this stuff out. Especially because I don't have a lot of time. That's really not a choice of mine. If I want to continue having my lifestyle that I have, things are going to have to continue on course. So that's the way things are. Unfortunately, that's just life. Alright, so I'm not going to talk too much more on... so we talked about for the science fiction space opera. If it does pan out, now, of course, you're probably thinking, well, hey, Tabletop Junkie, what happens if the tables have turned and people want to see more action adventure? Well, I already have plans for that, and I already have plans for the horror mystery as well. And I even have plans for the science fiction horror, which the science fiction horror one is right now the least likely thing to happen. Action, adventure, and horror mystery have a better chance on beating sci-fi and space opera before the science fiction horror takes over. So, yeah. Anyhow, I will be. I gotta get into a chart program and get these things mapped out too on a chart to see what we have going on. So, it looks like for for a fan base of 14 votes on science fiction space opera, it looks like I'm looking pretty good. Because I only got 25 total, so I mean there is a small, and there's nothing saying that the people who voted on other things won't come over and go, hey man, this is actually pretty good. So if this does pan out, I do plan on doing other genres of other stories as well. I do plan on doing horror mystery at one time, because at one point, if this does work out in my favor because I like a good Call of Cthulhu story, or just a made up story using Cthulian type aspects, or H.P. Lovecraftian type aspects. Um, Action adventure, that can kind of go with anything. So, well, so working on that project. Still got my Castles and Crusades, Chronicles of Paramore project going on. The development on that has come to a stop because the the players are barely 20% of the way through. I'm actually 55% finished with the whole thing on the first part of the story, and I've already started working on other parts of the first age of things and events that could unfold. And second age is pretty much already developed to a point and almost finished. So I'm kind of really ahead of that project. So now I'm trying to find something else because there's really nothing else to do. Would be cool to do an old-fashioned haunted house or 70s 80s slasher. Yeah, it would be. Would be. We will go more into that at later times. Like I said, Castles and Crusades, the story development has come to a slow because, like I said, with what I do have developed, players haven't made it to yet. So, yeah. And like I said, most of the first age is pretty much done. I'm just getting the notes fleshed out. All the notes for the first age of Paramore is done, leading into the second age and how the setting is supposed to work for the second age. And that is almost done. And I'm actually starting developing now on the development has already started for the Chronicles of Paramore in the third age, which by then is a couple thousand years have passed from between the first age and the second age and the third age. So really not much more I can do about that. And who says you can't have a Halloween special with this science fiction? Yeah, I probably could. But probably not enough time for that. That would probably have to be something for next year, Spartacus. Next year. Can't take on too many more projects than I'm able to handle. So, alright, well, that's everything I have at this time. I want to let everyone know who's tuned in. Thank you for tuning in. Please go on my Twitter page and vote. I will have the link posted in the description, as well as my promotions that I promote, of the people I do promote. So, I want to wish everyone a great and wonderful day, and thank you for tuning in. Remember to work hard, play hard, game on, everybody. Have a great and wonderful day.